Hello everyone, my name is Loko and welcome to another Diablo 3 video. Today I'm going to be showing you a build for the Demon Hunter in patch 2.2 for season number 3. Now with this build you're going to be running the Natalya set, which means we're going to be focusing on mainly the Reign of Vengeance abilities. Now very shortly I will be going over everything, but I wanted to note right off the bat that this is one of the builds that you don't see too often because most of the Demon Hunters are running Unhallowed Essence. However, this build got changed completely with this patch as well because the Natalya set got changed significantly. What this means is that there are currently Demon Hunters out there that are pushing greater rifts up to 55 and over, which means that this is a great build for soloing, but you can also be using this in group play. Now in this video I'm gonna go over the abilities that you need when running this build. I'm gonna be going over the skills that you need to have, the gear that you need to have, the playstyle, as well as the gems and all of that. Now I'm gonna try and go over this quite quickly because else the video would be super long, but as always I will leave a link right below the like button in the description below that will tell you everything more in depth if you want to slow down a little bit and you want to read it instead. Now the goal for this build is going to be focused on Reign of Vengeance. Now what exactly does Reign of Vengeance do? Normally the cooldown of this ability right here is going to be 30 seconds, which obviously means that you cannot spam it very often. However, if you spec into it properly, you can actually lower this cooldown to only a couple of seconds. So that is what Natalya's set focuses on. So the 2 set bonus for Natalya is right here. We are going to be running the 6 set bonus. The 2 set bonus will reduce the cooldown of Reign of Vengeance by 2 seconds when you hit with a hatred generating attack or a hatred spending attack. The 4 set bonus increases the damage of Reign of Vengeance by 100%, and then the 6 set bonus, which is the most important one, after casting Reign of Vengeance, deal 400% increased damage and take 30% reduced damage for 5 seconds. Now if you manage to play this properly, you should be able to cast Reign of Vengeance almost every 5 seconds, which means you're gonna have an enormous amount of damage all the time. Now every single item in this build and every single aspect of this build is going to be focused on casting Reign of Vengeance as often as possible. For example, the belt right here, as you can see, Reign of Vengeance deals a heck of a lot more damage as soon as you cast it. And for example, the braces as well, enemies hit by knockback suffer 25% extra damage when they land. And this is huge. Now what are the skills that we're going to be running with this build? First off, we have Evasive Fire with Focus. Now this is indeed a cold spec. Even though we are building fire, the reason for this we will see when we go over the legendary gems, but besides just actually being a hatred generator, we're also going to use this for a heck of a lot of damage later on as well. Then we have Reign of Vengeance with the Rune Stampede. This one allows you to knock back enemies but also deal significant amount of damage. Fold with Tumble to get across the map very quickly and obviously to get out of trouble very rapidly. Preparation with Focus Mind. This is mainly just a spell for hatred regeneration and it's going to be great in combination with Strafe. Then we have Smokescreen with Lingering Fog, and even though this one got nerfed in the latest patch, it is still very powerful to get out of trouble. And then we got Strafe with Rocket Form, which is going to be your main damaging ability as soon as Reign of Vengeance is on cooldown. Then as far as the passives go, we got Call of the Week. This one will be obviously great with your Evasive Fire as well as the gems that we will go over in a second. We got Steady Aim. As long as there's no enemies within 10 yards, all your damage is increased by 20%. And since you are going to be a glass cannon as a Demon Hunter, this is going to be crucial anyway. Then we got Ambush. You deal 40% additional damage to enemies above 75 health. And this is going to be huge with the initial impact of Reign of Vengeance. And then we have also Awareness because, well, let's face it, as a Demon Hunter, you are going to be taking a lot of damage. Now there are a couple of different variations of this build. This is going to be the one that all of the top Demon Hunters are running. There are a couple variations of it where people instead are running physical focus. So with Reign of Vengeance they would go instead with Dark Cloud, and with Strafe they would go instead with, which one is that? Yeah, it's going to be Stinging Steel. But this is the most common version that you will see. Now with this build you do need this very specific set of gear, and this is going to take a little while to grind up. First off, we need the 6 set bonus so that it is without the Ring of Royal Grandeur of Natalya's. You want to make sure that you don't use the ring because the rings are going to be crucial in the fact that we need this set bonus right here with Focus and Restraint. With that comes the fact that you need a very strong one hand from Natalya's, and as an offhand you ideally want a Calamity, which marks the enemies that you hit by Mark for Death. Other than that, you want to have as many sockets available, and that also means on your amulets and your rings. Your helm should be a Natalya sight with crit hit chance, dexterity, and also a socket. As far as the socket goes, as you can see, currently I am running a ruby in there for the bonus experience. If you're gonna be pushing greater rifts that are very high and gonna be very difficult, go with a diamond instead for that reduced cooldown, which will once again allow you to cast more Rain of Vengeance. For your torso, you need to make sure that you have the 3 sockets right here. It's going to be Natalya's Embrace, obviously, dexterity and vitality, as well as bonus damage to Rain of Vengeance. For your belt, you want to be having a Crashing Rain. This one increases the damage of Rain and Vengeance substantially. As you can see, it summons a Crashing Beast that deals 3,707% weapon damage for mine, but it can go all the way up to 4,000 right there. What you want with this one is going to be Dexterity, Vitality, All Resist, and Life. Now, you can be switching this one out for a Witching Hour as well, which I've seen a couple of people run, but honestly, the damage that you get from Crashing Rain is enormous. For the legs, you want to have Natalya's leggings with sockets, dexterity, and vitality. And for the boots, you also want Natalya's set right here with the bloody footprints. You want to have movement speed, all resist, dexterity, and vitality. For the shoulders, you can actually switch this one out for a couple different ones. Most of the top demon hunters seem to be running the Pauldrons of the Skeleton King. However, as long as you have something that gives you increased damage to Rain of Vengeance, you are golden. And as you can see right now, I actually run out of ways to reroll this one. So I will need to get back to that at some later time. But you want to be having Rain of Vengeance bonus damage, vitality, and dexterity, as well as a resource reduction or a cooldown reduction ideally. For gloves, you need Natalya's Touch, which is also part of the set. You need to have the critical hit chance, the critical hit damage, dexterity, and ideally also, once again, cooldown reduction. As far as the weapons go, the very first one you're gonna need is a Natalya Slayer. You need to have Rain of Vengeance damage on this one, which now drops by default as long as you got one in the current season. You're obviously gonna need a socket with this as well. You want dexterity and also, once again, cooldown reduction if you can. As far as your offhand goes, there are a couple of different options. Calamity seems to be the best one because obviously you will mark enemies for death as soon as you hit them, which is huge because that means they take increased damage for, I believe, 30 seconds. Also on this one, you want to make sure you have the reduced cooldowns, and also you want to make sure that you have as much damage as possible with dexterity, with bonus damage to elites, and obviously as much damage on the weapon itself as possible. For the rings, you want to make sure you are running Restraint and Focus with critical hit damage, critical hit chance, and obviously also dexterity. Now, as you can see, mine are really not that good, but you want to try and have better ones than mine, but still run the set bonus. The set bonus of this one from the Bastion of Wills will give you basically a lot more damage, and you will substantially see a difference. This is also the reason why we are not running the Ring of Royal Grandeur, for example, with a Cinder Coat, for the simple reason that the Bastion of Will actually give you a huge damage boost. For the amulet, you want to make sure you have a socket as well as fire damage percentage. Now, I currently don't have this one, and with that you can obviously also have the critical hit chance, the critical hit damage, and all these amazing things. For the wrist, you want to make sure that you have these strong arm braces because they allow enemies that are knocked back to take 25% increased damage for a couple of seconds, which once again comes back to the Rain of Vengeance with Stampede. With that, you want to make sure that you have the extra fire damage, critical hit chance, as well as dexterity and vitality. For this one, there really aren't very good replacements, so I would highly recommend you try your very hardest to get a strong arm bracer, because this is actually one of the main sources of damage. As far as gems go, there are a couple of different options, but these 3 are the most common. First off, we have the Bane of the Trapped. This one increases damage against enemies under the effect of control impairing effects by a certain percentage, as well as the Gain an Aura that reduces the movement speed of enemies within 15 yards by 30%. Now, this is huge. This will allow you to deal a substantial amount of extra damage, and you want to have this one at the bare minimum of 25, but ideally, you want to have it higher than that. Then next up, we have the Zeiss Stone of Vengeance. Damage you deal is increased by 5.5% for me for every 10 yards between you and the enemy. Once again, you want to be making sure that you are at maximum amount of range. And on top of that, you also have the 20% chance to stun an enemy for 1 second when you hit them. Now, this obviously goes very well with the steady aim and the other abilities that we saw previously. Last but not least, you also want to try and get your Ice Blink up to a minimum of level 25. Your cold skills now apply chill effects, and your chill effects now slow enemy movement down by another additional 15.4%. Gain 10% increased critical hit chance against chilled and frozen enemies. Now, this is the reason why we are running the Evasive Fire with the cold rune, because it allows you to deal more damage and everything just ties in very nicely. Now the very last thing to be discussing here as well is going to be the spending of the Paragon Points. Now my Paragon level is actually not even that high compared to some others that are playing seasonal right now. But the first thing you want to make sure you max out is going to be movement speed, then into dexterity, and then either vitality or maximum hatred. As far as offense go, you want to make sure you have the cooldown reduction as low as possible, or as high as possible rather, so that you can actually spend your Rain of Vengeance as often as you possibly can. Then also you want to make sure you have your critical hit damage, then your critical hit chance, and last but not least your attack speed. Next up we have the all resist, armor, life, and then life regeneration. And as far as utility goes, resource reduction cost would be the main one, then area damage, and then life on hit and gold find. Now last but not least, I wanted to show you a little bit about the playstyle with this specific build. So here we go. I just opened up a Nephilim Rift right here at Torment number 6. So your basic goal is going to be to cast Rain of Vengeance as often as possible. Now I want to show you how much damage that does really quickly, as long as we actually find like an opponent over here somewhere. I mean, there must be, there we go. You can see how much damage it does because basically everything just blows up as soon as you cast that one. Now currently the damage on that is very high, but the cooldown is pretty high as well. But as soon as you start hitting enemies with anything whatsoever, the cooldown will get reduced. This even works, you know, with your basic attacks. This even works with your Rocket Storm, your Strafe as well. So what are you trying to do is just cross the distance as often as possible. Use Rocket Storm in between damage, and then also cast you know, your Rain of Vengeance as often as possible. Alright, so I walked on a little bit, and as you can see, there are two groups of elites right here. Now I want to show you the damage of the abilities that I got. So first of all, I want to hit Evasive Fire, and then as soon as I activate Rain of Vengeance, everything just dies. Those were true groups of elites right there, guys. Like that was, well actually there's still like two little guys alive right here. But you can see the damage of the Rain of Vengeance right here. Oh, they actually have shields, so that's why. You can see the damage of Rain of Vengeance, and hey, we even get a legendary right here. So once more, a group of elites right here. Hit your right mouse button, and everything is dead. So here I'm up against a Rift Guardian. Now once again, gonna use my Rain of Vengeance. And even though this is a Torment 6 Rift Guardian, look at the amount of damage that guy takes. Once again, cooldown is already gone again. And I'm going to be activating my right mouse button once more, and he is already down. And that is going to be pretty much it. If you have any questions whatsoever, make sure you let me know right below that like button in the comment section. And also check out the link in the description of this video that will take you to the blog post where I will try and explain everything a little bit more in depth. And if I forgot something really important, I will obviously edit it in there as well. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. And other than that, I want to thank you guys all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!